Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome back to the 415. I am Raina Starr, so you don't have to be. With me, as always, is my co-host, Star Bustamante. Say hello, Star.
Hello, Star.
The 415 is brought to you by House of Black Hat Magic and Wild Hunt and Dorothy Martin. So, the opinions expressed here are those of myself and my co-host, and not a reflection of anybody else or any of their subsidiaries, but we're going to get into it because it's that time. You're going to hear some cursing. You're going to hear some screaming probably. You're going to hear some noise. We're going to talk about what we're about to walk into, but before we start with all of that, we would like to say, hail the traveler to Mr. Jimmy Carter, who lived to be 100 years old, a man who I believe actually said and did things from his heart and believed and did things following his path and his chosen religion. A man that barely exists anymore. We don't see men like Mr. Jimmy anymore. So, again, safe travels to you on your next journey, Mr. Jimmy. Wish there were more like you. But you're a man of, I don't know, just needed more like you. Hail and farewell. Would you like to say anything about Mr. Jimmy Carter?
Well, I think that he was probably one of the most underrated presidents that we've ever had. I also think that he was one of the finest human beings that has probably walked on the face of the planet. And we definitely, we need more people like him. And sadly, there don't seem to be very many running around loose. But, he was an extraordinary human being. He never wavered from what he perceived his mission to be. And that's about as good as you can hope for, under the best of circumstances. Considering, the state of things and what we're about to be looking at. I don't know. I got nothing. Well, actually, that's not true. I have a lot to say.
You do.
So, definitely. Jimmy Carter was a hell of a man, and 100 years old. He was 100 years old.
100 years old. Went to be with the love of his life, who predeceased him by a number of years. I mean, Mrs. Carter died, not that long ago. 3 years ago.
2 years ago?
They had
two or three.
Two or three. They had an incredibly long marriage, 70-some-odd years together, which, wow. I mean, if my life is that long, it'll be amazing. But to have a marriage that long, even more so. So that's, and an incredible life of service. If anyone doesn't remember, Habitat for Humanity was started by Jimmy Carter, I believe, many, many, many years ago. And they are still in operation today and building houses for those who are not fortunate enough to be able to afford them. And the Habitat for Humanity stores were also an offshoot of that. And an incredible life of service, but okay. Our hearts go out to our friends in New Orleans who unimaginable tragedy. And then an explosion of a Tesla in front of a Trump casino. It's just unbelievable. And both of these acts apparently committed by former military folks, not immigrants, as misreported by our next commander-in-chief, apparently. He misspoke. Because
well, which one?
He doesn't know.
Wait, which one? The one that people voted for, or the one that people didn't vote for? Because remember, we've got I mean, we can't not. Yeah. Anyway, so
not Elon Trump. I'm talking about the Donald. The Donald,
okay.
Unfortunately, because he heard a foreign name or what didn't sound like an American name to him, made an assumption that one of the attacks was made by an immigrant because he's not wise enough to go and find out first. Be prepared for a lot more disinformation as it comes from the lips of the next president again. Just unbelievable, the resounding amount of bullshit that will continue to flow when you hear a name that maybe sounds, I don't know, anything other than John Jones or Mike Smith. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He has misspoken yet again. These are not foreigners. These are people who were trained in our military, who are citizens of our country, who are incredibly disturbed. I can't imagine why. You know, this is the kind of shit. Yeah, here I go. This is the kind of shit we can expect for the next 4 fucking years of misinformation and bullshit because people are losing their minds, because the country is going to hell in a handbasket, because for whatever fucking reason, no matter how much screaming, crying, and carrying on we've done to let people know about the difference between the two parties, for whatever reason, America still can't figure out that there was a difference between the nice lady who happened to have been a prosecutor and the fucking thief, rapist, alleged, crook alleged, no, proven, sorry, in a court of law, that he was a creep and a liar and a thief and hurt people. But that was still okay for the American public. I do not understand the whole idea of, you know, she's a woman or she's a woman of color. What is wrong, America? What the fuck do we need to do to convince you that there was a huge difference? And, I mean, I've had this problem go on even in my family. I have to admit that there has been some discourse in my own fucking family, whom I love, where there has been said the following words to me: well, if I closed my eyes, I couldn't hear the difference. What? Are you insane? And I'm not going to go into the who's, whys, and wherefores, but I'm just going to say, no, fuck no. Wrong, bullshit, you weren't paying attention. No. So I am extremely disturbed. Anybody who has spent time around me fucking knows fair and well the differences between the two parties, the differences between the two candidates, how we got, you know, and I've been trying to be real fucking zen about this, see how well that shit's working. But I'm trying, I really am, because this time it wasn't, I refused to believe that people were confused. I refused to believe that people didn't understand. I think we made it very fucking clear for quite a while. Before I continue on that, please support Wild Hunt and wildhunt.org. Give it all your support. Take a paper of record. Send them money. Give them your support. Read it. It's actually written by real journalists. Okay, So that's my commercial for the Wild Hunt for right now. Back to that later.
So,
but the fact of the matter is, all right, you go ahead and
let me interject
before I fucking lose my shit over here. Go ahead, Star.
All right. Well, you can lose your shit if you want to. That's fine because, this is a sweary kind of show, and you already warned people. But so here's my take on, first of all, I'm really tired of hearing, I'm really tired of reading online some of the nonsense that some members of the Democratic Party have been putting out there. It makes me want to scream. But you want to know why she lost? You want to know why? Because A, she is a woman and she is black. And this is, America is based on colonialism, racism, and lots of misogyny. So that's my take. Those are the only fucking reasons. I mean, so one of my friends, one of their friends who is a nurse and works in a hospital, we're one of only a couple women who voted for Harris. And some of the other nurses were talking and they're like, oh, I just couldn't get past her laugh. I mean, her laugh is just awful. I mean, so even women cannot, they're much impacted by the patriarchy in the behavior that they model and how they think as men are. I mean, that's just super discouraging. It's super annoying, but I also think that, we have taught and trained people to think this way. Talk to any woman in any kind of, any position in corporate America, and if they don't espouse the same kind of views, you will find that they, they're victims of them, even as they agree with them. So, I mean, it's just the reality. And anybody who says, oh, no, that's not true, you can just kiss my ass. I mean, that is absolutely where we are with things. And anybody who says otherwise can fuck right off. I see it every day. I saw it when, there's a reason I work for myself. There's a reason I work for myself, because I'm not putting up with that shit. And I don't know, there's this weird thing. I don't know. Companies get upset with you when you have, you're working for a misogynist and you end up handcuffing them to the shelf in a walk-in cooler, or freezer, I should say. I don't know. They get really testy about it. So
they do. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's the truth. It's a hard truth. I do have to agree with that. And my distaste for women, and unfortunately a great number of liberals right now, it has really burnt me to a point where I'm like, what is the point of being a part of a party that doesn't even respect its own members? It's like, being a part of a club that doesn't want you. Why am I bothering with this bullshit? It is the first time in a really long time where I'm like, maybe I should go independent, because everybody else in my family is an independent, and I'm not getting a lot of appreciation out of the party. And that I find very discouraging. I became a Democrat because of Howard Dean. I was an independent before that. And I figured if we could build the party's numbers, we stood a better chance of winning. That was all pie-in-the-sky bullshit, apparently, that I told myself. None of it real. So I'm considering changing my affiliation, obviously. But even still, that doesn't seem to be changing hearts and minds. It doesn't seem to be advancing the Democratic cause. We don't seem to have a message that anyone is paying attention to. there's definitely an issue in the messaging. I don't know how to rectify that because I thought we had come so far to rectify it. When the Democrats had reclaimed the term patriotism, thought we were on the right road. I figured if we were reclaiming words that the Republicans had co-opted, if we had tried to reclaim God, if we had tried to reclaim patriotism, if we had tried to reclaim the United States, if we had tried to reclaim USA, if we had tried to reclaim the flag, that those would be winning strategies for the Democratic side. And apparently it won over some folks, but it still lost others. And I don't know if there's any kind of a winnable strategy for the Democratic Party. So it looks like instead of, we thought that the Republican Party was going to have to tear down and rebuild, it looks like the absolute opposite is happening, and that the Democratic Party is the party that has to tear down and rebuild. Not that everything is going so smoothly in the Republican Party, as we see Mike Johnson is fighting for the speakership again. Even though Trump is supporting him, it looks like Johnson is still having opposition to his renomination or nomination as opposed to appointment. So it's going to be an interesting battle. And once again, we find ourselves in a position where the government may again be facing another shutdown. And I do not recall, and maybe you can enlighten me on this, but it seems like a government shutdown is something that we talk about a lot more often now than we ever used to. It seems to me that a government shutdown was something we talked about maybe once a year, and now it seems like it's something we talk about a whole lot more often than we ever have. Is that just my imagination, or is that something you're noticing more of lately in the past number of decades, or is it just something I'm noticing?
Well, first of all, raising the debt limit was never a thing, right? In the past, it was only when it only became contentious under Republicans because they couldn't get their way in other things, so they just decided that this was the perfect way to bottleneck things up. So you're correct. It was not, in the past, it was not a thing. But, okay, so one of the things that I want to talk about today is how none of this is normal, okay? None of what we are seeing is normal. And there's a faction of the Democratic Party that wants to act like this is, we're going to have to, we have to work with him, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is utter bullshit. They're acting like this is business as usual and things are normal. And nothing about what is happening with the GOP, with Trump, with, that we have a fucking shadow president, or whatever Elon Musk is, that we have this, that they've created, and I want to be, really clear on this, that this Department of, whatever dodgy. That's what the Beans Queens call it, dodgy. They're right. It is so fucking dodgy. It's just not even funny. But that's not even that's not a real thing. Because,
it has no power.
You can't just, you can't just appoint a bunch of people and create a department. Guess what? Only fucking Congress can do that, okay? That's how it works. Congress has to do that. You can't just fucking create this department of whatever the fuck, you can't do it. That's not how it works. It is not how it works. And, and plus, what are they going to do? They're talking about, if you actually take the time and you look at all the things that they're talking about cutting, they're like talking about cutting, I don't know, like 75% of the budget. And I mean, what do you think is going to happen when they start cutting, like, we're going to end Social Security or whatever? Like, 95% of what they're talking about doing, they're not going to be able to do. They're not going to be able to do. But my point is that none of this is fucking normal. It's not normal, and we shouldn't act like it's normal. And we also, these fuckers in the Democratic Party, they're like, well, we have to work with him. No, you fucking don't. You need to fight this motherfucker every step of the way. You need to do exactly what Republicans have done to every Democratic president that we have had since they started this craziness. And that is fight them every fucking step of the way. I don't care. I think whatever it is, if a big piece of whatever it is they're trying to pass that actually benefits people, no, we're going to fight you every way. And we may not have the votes, and we may not be able to, actually stop them from eventually doing what they're doing, but we can sure as fuck gum things up, and that's what we need to do. And so there are organizations where you can sign up, and you can write letters to representatives, and the representatives who are appointed to committees and all of that. And this is what we need to be doing. Okay. I'm sorry. And I've been a registered independent, pretty much, I think, forever. So I've never aligned with one party or the other, as far as like saying, oh yeah, I'm a Democrat or whatever. Now I may vote Democrat most of the damn time, but I'm an independent. I vote for, I would vote for the abominable snowman at this point over what we fucking currently have. And dude would, to be fair, he would probably do a better job. Okay.
Yeah.
He'd probably start off by eating all the Republicans, which would be fine with me also.
In the immortal words of Mitch McConnell, our number one plan is to make sure everything he does fails. That is our job.
I think we should be smarter than Mitch McConnell. Okay, I think we should be smarter than Mitch McConnell, and agree. And we are smarter than Mitch McConnell. Okay, just you and me are smarter than Mitch McConnell. Too bad we don't have as much money as Mitch McConnell.
But this is also.
But no, I think how this needs to go is like this: that if the Republicans are trying to pass something, keep in mind that even the Republicans don't agree. That, they can't even get along with each other.
Yep.
And a lot of what they're going to want to try and do is going to require some cooperation from Democrats. And so we just beat the shit out of them, If they want it, we make them fucking fight for every last tiny bit. And if it benefits us in any way, shape, or form, in a real fashion, then that's all well and good. And if it doesn't, fuck you. No, we're gonna make you fucking beg and crawl. We're gonna make you jump through every hoop that we possibly can. I'm still mad that they didn't fucking appoint AOC to the committee that she should have been appointed to, because they're a bunch of fucking, the misogyny and the patriarchal bullshit, and that all has its roots in colonialism. It's not just like, you can't just say, oh, well, it's the Republicans. No, it's every motherfucker, It's corporate America. Yeah. It's everywhere. Okay, so they can fuck right off too. There are And I will say that there are some very good people within the Democratic Party. Look at Roy Cooper was, probably one of the best governors we've ever had. He's been, Josh Stein was sworn in yesterday. Yeah. I don't even know what fucking day it is. Jeff, what's his name? Jackson? Is it Jeff Jackson?
Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Jackson.
I like him a lot. I think he's a good man, and he gets it, and he is not so much of that, of that school of thought. But the rest of them, and I'm sorry, I think, I used to think, well, no matter how old somebody is, as long as they're, they're actually doing the work and they're making a difference and blah, blah, blah. I don't know that I think that anymore. I think maybe we need to I think term limits are probably good. I think that, I think that, have you seen the story about the representative who had been in a memory care facility? Had been in a memory care facility.
I heard about her son reported that in because apparently she had been missing from her seat.
Yeah.
I'm like, we just can go off on a toot, and it takes months for us to figure out our representatives are missing? Really?
Well, and apparently, I can't remember what committee she served on, but it was an important committee, and and so if she couldn't really communicate, then what the hell? Okay, what the hell? But I mean, and so now, and then there's also this thing of that they kind of just covered it up because they said that if they reported it, then that they wouldn't have the votes that they needed. So that's a hell of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So and this is what I'm saying. Okay, so I don't think that the Democrats should be doing shit like that. Okay. But what I do think is that every chance that they get to be a fucking, fly in the ointment, they need to, they need to do it every chance they get, And I mean, and it's with people, and then there's this handful of Democrats that have been on every fucking news show. And, their opinion pieces have been published, and they're like, but we need to work with them. Blah, 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 blah. No, we don't. No, we don't. We do not, in fact, need to work with them. And,
we tried that. It didn't work.
Yeah, we tried that. No, it didn't work. And literally, it doesn't matter, I think Democrats are all butthurt because they're I'm sorry. I'm kind of over it, I'm kind of over it. And I think, the thing that just keeps ringing in my head is this. Nobody is fucking coming to save us, okay? Nobody.
No.
If we want to be saved, we're going to have to save our fucking selves. So, if you think somebody's fucking coming to save you, I got news for you. No, they ain't. If anything, they'll throw you a concrete brick to hold while you're drowning. So, no. So it's going to be up to us to, to save ourselves. And incidentally, there was a really great interview with Greg Sargent for The New Republic. Did an interview with Chris Murphy yesterday, I think. Great interview. You should all go listen to it. And he's right. He's like, this is no. He's like, none of this is normal. We can't treat it like it's normal. And, if we do that, we're giving in. And I agree with him. So.
I mean, I don't see where unless it's something that benefits the people, that we're actually serving anything, any kind of good. The people, unfortunately, don't seem to care, however, and any steps that we've tried, when I say we, I don't mean me, because I'm not in government, but any warnings that we have tried to give the folks seems to have fallen on a lot of deaf ears. I mean, I'm not going to say that we changed any hearts and minds. I hope we did, but I can't guarantee that, and I don't have the ego to say that I did. But I can only hope that people will learn the lesson, because, you know, when Trump was first in office, it made me crazy enough that I would wake up pretty much every morning of that presidency wondering what he had done while we were sleeping the night before to either get us, to either get us closer to a war, or, you know, had he done something horrible to another group of people. I don't know if folks remember that in pretty much his first days of being president, the last time was the Muslim ban. I don't know if folks remember that, when people were coming back into the country from vacations and various holidays, that people who
I think it was, wasn't it around that Christmas? I think it was around the Christmas holidays.
It was around the holidays, and people couldn't even get back. People couldn't even get back into the fucking country who lived here. And I don't know if folks remember, because it seems so long ago. And it does seem like a long time ago, because, you know, for a lot of people, they weren't even voting then. It's 8 years ago, you know, and a new generation of voters has come up since then. I don't know. I don't know how to make it make sense to people so that they get it. I don't know what to do. I just know that I can't go through another 8 years like that, 4 years, excuse me. Whew, please, no. Another 4 years like that 4 years where I was miserable every 5 seconds, where I woke up in dread every day, where I was glued to the TV, constantly worried about what he was going to do. I'm too fucking old. I'm in my 60s. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know that I have the stomach for it. I certainly want to report on it. That's why we're doing the show twice a month now, Star, to bring the people the information. But I don't know that I can do the worry. And I have more reason to worry now because I have more relatives that are going to be affected than ever before. And I'm not talking about just friends. I'm talking about friends, blood relations, people who are going to be directly impacted by the policies of this administration, with their hatred of anyone who's not like them, whether it's physically, sexually, whatever it is. You know, I've got a lot of family members who are not the quote-unquote typical American, as it were. I don't know. You're still here. It looks like my co-host cannot hear me. You cannot hear me. Well, your microphone is still, you still look plugged in. I don't know what happened. Okay, your call dropped, so we're going to wait for Star to check back in. So anyway, but again, as I was saying, you know, we're looking at another situation where we have another 4 years. Hopefully it's only 4. Who knows what will actually happen. But whatever it is, you know, we can only hope that things will not get further destroyed. I know there's a lot of I don't believe that Trump can do everything that this agenda in Project 2025 has outlined. I don't think that's even possible. So, you know, or if that truly is all of the goal, you can't get back in. All right. Well, it looks like my co-host cannot get back into the show, so we're going to early wrap. So, guys, thank you again for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode, and stay safe until then. Take